Lord Vader, welcome. Welcome back to Tiny Grimes Games, and I'm here with another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. Alright, so I've been asked the same question repeatedly a lot lately in this downtime where there hasn't been much new content lately. There hasn't been a new level for a little while. People are feeling a little anxious about that. The question I've been getting is, hey Tiny, should I just stop playing for a little while and wait for new content? I'm kind of bored. What am I supposed to do right now? For me, that is the craziest thing I could ever hear a person say as a free-to-play player. As a free-to-play player, these down periods for me are my favorite times and the most important periods of the game for you. Every time new content comes out, you fall behind. The paying player either already has those guys leveled up when the meta shifts, or they can quickly get them leveled up, acquire those characters. What's especially terrifying is when the best characters become characters that are not accessible to the free-to-play player. So this down period is sometimes something you should really be sinking your teeth into and capitalizing on. So let me tell you a couple ways you can really take advantage of this. First is to catch up. And what I mean by that is to try to use this time to catch up to what the current meta is. For a little while, the meta was droids. I was able to catch up to that. Now the meta is speed all the time. And to be honest, I'm still playing catch up there. I don't have my Rey up to 7 stars and geared up. She's only about 4.5 stars. I'm almost done with my Geonosis Soldier. That's great. My Qui-Gon is on the way. But I am not caught up to the new speed lineup. I'm still like a lineup behind. It's doing fine. I'm able to consistently get to about 20 every day. But I'm on the original server with all the people who've been playing the longest and with a ton of amazing free-to-play. With a ton of amazing paying players. And it can be hard without having the top lineup to be able to crack that. So this is your opportunity to catch up. Okay, so maybe you are caught up. That is amazing. Good for you. Now you have another opportunity, and this is to get ahead. And this is much more difficult, but this is to try to predict the meta. And this is where you can do things like look at the abilities for these guys for the next level when they hit level 80 or on their way to 80. What are they gonna add? And so you look at somebody like Geonosis Soldier and his swarm, and you see cooldown -1, and you know the cooldown's already only 1. So it's going to be every turn. So a character like this, even though we don't know what the next meta is going to look like, some sort of nerf to speed might knock it all the way to the ground, but it just seems to me like a Geonosis Soldier that every single turn calls someone to help him is going to be good. So you can do more research like that. Try to come up with what you think is going to be the next meta. Try to get ahead of the curve. This is incredibly difficult, though, as nerfs, buffs, reworks of characters, all this makes this so difficult. Real quick to circle back on catching up. One of the real dangers of this, of course, is when you're as far behind and you're trying to catch up, the meta may shift before you get there. And so it's kind of a dangerous thing, and you may just decide, you know what, I'm not going to try to catch up. I'm going to go ahead and try to get ahead of the curve. You can get ahead of the curve, even better. Another thing you can do in this period is to say, screw it. I'm not going to try to catch because I can't catch up. I'm not going to try to predict it because that's impossible. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to get the guy I've always wanted. So for example, I'd love to have Luke Skywalker. He's a cool dude. He'd be a fun guy to have. I don't have him. It's entirely possible I could just say, you know what, he's not amazing right now. I'm going to get him. And the reason why I am willing to suggest this one in the past I was not, is because Capital Games has basically made it clear that you never know who's going to be good. Royal Guard was garbage. He was literal garbage before. He got a substantial buff, and now he's awesome. He's in quite a few top-tier lineups. I had considered him one of the bottom characters in the game. Mace Windu, another bottom feeder, has gotten a buff. It didn't take him up into the meta, but he's still got a buff. So it's very interesting that Capital Games doesn't just nerf characters that seem to be a little overpowered. They're willing to buff up underpowered characters. So, I don't know. Maybe go out and get the Ewok Scout. He's pretty terrible. If he got a big buff, he could be reasonable. Another guy, somebody like the Tusken Raider, like he's kind of on the edge of being good. He has, this thing, Tusken allies gain 75% turn meter. He can buff up. Oh, sorry, this is Uror. Whoa, I got all confused there. Where is the Tusken Raider? I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point is, pick a character if you want that you like, that you think, boy, if they buff this guy, he would be bananas good. And that's not a bad place to be. Because the way I look at it also is, if you're playing the game like I am, which is long-term, and really that's kind of how you have to play this game if you're the free-to-play player, long-term grinding, once you get a guy, he's yours. Or a gal, she's yours. It's just how this game works. So the more characters you're getting, the better. And when they get their eventual buff, maybe you're going to be in business. It's a little bit iffy of an approach. It's not an approach I would take personally. I'm always chasing the brass ring. But it's less ridiculous than I used to think it was. You never know who's going to get buffed. Now let's say you're caught up, or you don't want to look ahead. You're just really happy with your 5 to 7 man lineup. If nothing else, stockpile resources, ability mats, money, gear. These are all going to be incredibly useful when the next level cap increases. Remember how much money it took to get to 60 to 70. I'm predicting something like 2.5, 3 million per character to go from 70 to 80, which is obscene and absurd, and it's going to be nearly impossible to get your guys up there. So this is a great opportunity to just sit here, grind up the money, so when the inevitable level increase does happen, you won't be taken with your pants down, right? You'll be ready. You'll be able to just keep it up. As you get to 72, all you guys go to 72. And then you'll be able to continue the success you're having in Arena and in the Galactic War. Whereas if you can only get 2 to 3 guys leveled up, it's going to be really hard in Arena and in Galactic War. Both are going to suffer. So this is an entirely viable approach. All right. So hopefully this video has convinced you that just because there's not new content to be exploring, there's not experience to be gained by leveling up, that it's still worth playing as a free-to-play player. This is the time that you should be cherishing. Have fun, get some levels, get some characters, get some gear, get some mats, get ready for the changes, and I'll see you next time on Tiny Grams Games.